He has an image and it says, "There's so much power in believing that everything will work out even when you don't know how or when. You just believe that it will." But it says, "Hey, I've been sending messages for 30 days and I've been posting. I have a few meetings, but I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. I don't have any clients. What am I doing wrong?" Next up, we got Jorge. He says, "Guys, I'm trying to choose the niche for easy to sell, easy to fulfill service. I really don't care about passion or enjoyment, especially at the very beginning. I can work on anything as long as it makes me money. You guys got any recommendations for niches where the service is really, really helpful and that one partnership can make you thousands? Want to decide on a niche so I can start reaching out to them this Monday."
Yo, it's Frankie Fihn. Beach mode engaged. Looms loaded, AI's humming. Let's go!
Welcome back, everybody. We are in another weekly Q&A for all you smart, talented agency owner motherfuckers. The shenanigans are back. I'm glad that we can have a week where we can talk about non-Alex Hermosi things. Not that I don't think the guy's cool, but I would much rather talk about you guys and the cool shit you guys are doing. Quick little announcement just before we get rocking and rolling. I have been working on something for a while. For those of you guys who are in the beginner stages, we have a program, by the way, called the Fast Starters Program. It's for those of you guys who are just trying to get those first couple of clients and get the system and the machine moving, making the dream real, consistent, and steady. And if you guys want some support on that, we have an AI assistant you can talk to and ask some questions, and it'll probably direct you there if that's what you're looking to do. I created the AI assistant, by the way, because I have a lot of stuff. Like I actually added it up. I have 24 different programs, products, things like that for various things. And people ask me, you know, what should I buy? And so I made that thing so it'll figure out what you're trying to do, and then it'll direct you to whatever resources we have. So if you're interested in that, you can check that link out below for those of you guys who are on Facebook. For those of you guys who are not, I will put that on the old website at beyondagencyprofits.com. I'll put a menu item. It's not there yet, but by the time this replay is up, it'll be there. And you guys can talk to our AI assistant. Anyways, let's get into the good stuff. For those guys who don't know me already, my name's Frankie Fihn, the greatest of all time, the man they call the man, the dad with the golden guns. Be afraid. All right, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Fihn proudly brings to you our weekly Q&A. Sweaty, just so you guys know. It's August, though, here. It's so fucking hot. In Mexico, you got no idea how fucking hot it is in August. All right, so this first one, by the way, was not an actual question I got asked directly. This is a question I've been asked like 100 times a fucking week for the last 5 years. And so I just put it into a question, and it's not really attributed to anyone, so let's call it anonymous. But it says, "Hey, I've been sending messages for 30 days and I've been posting. I have a few meetings, but I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. I don't have any clients. What am I doing wrong?" All right, listen, to those of you guys who are newish at the game and you are just trying to get to 10K a month or 20K a month or whatever your fucking goal is, it doesn't really matter, okay? I feel like some of you guys, the biggest thing that keeps you stuck is simply that you have unrealistic expectations about what this process entails. And I understand how you got there, because it is sold in our space as if signing clients is so fast and so easy, and you just send some messages and motherfuckers ninja hurl credit cards at you. And I'm here to tell you that that is not the typical experience of people. In fact, I get hundreds of messages from people who like that is not your fucking experience, just so you know. I'm getting ghosted, I'm getting ignored, everything I'm trying is not working. That's a more typical experience. And I want to tell you guys something that hopefully will shed some light into this, is why patience is required and how to tell that it is actually working before it's working. So what most people pay attention to is the big scoreboard, the money scoreboard. And so what happens is they look at the scoreboard ain't fucking moving, and they go, oh shit, it's not working. And imagine, for example, let's say there's a man out there and he would like to meet a wife, okay? If his expectation is it's working equals I'm married, he's going to be very disappointed for a long period of time, just so you know, right? Because a wife, you know, like there's a process. If you just ask strangers to marry you, like you might get a wife, but it's probably not going to be an ideal kind of person. And so there is a process called like step 1, you're just talking to the opposite sex, right? Step 2, you're having some conversation. Step 3, you might invite them to a date together. Step 4, you're trying to sync up each other's schedule. How's your Thursday? Oh, I can't. How's next Tuesday? You know, things like that. And then you might go on a date. And then you might have to like text some more to get a second date. And then it's only really after a period of time that you would go steady and start to see, hey, I'm going to have a wife out of this. Okay? So the reason I say this to you is because all high ticket sales are a process, not an event. And the more you're trained to look for an event, the more you're going to be fucking disappointed, okay? So some of you guys are like promoting your shit on LinkedIn, okay? So there are unseen ways in which the process is moving forward that tell you you're on the right fucking track. So like, for example, when I was first trying to sell to attorneys, I went and joined some attorney groups and I friended some attorneys, right? Like that's kind of step 1, okay? So when I joined attorney group, do you think they clicked approve right away? Or do you think there was a waiting process? I'll tell you there's a waiting process for most of them, not all of them. And then after you click to join the community, and then you might friend some people in the community or connect. Some of them take like a week or 2 just to approve your thing. So it's like, even if I'm like cold messaging those people, which, by the way, I don't recommend as the strategy. I don't know why everybody thinks you have to do that. But let's say that's what we're talking about. It might be 2 weeks before I can even send a motherfucker a message. And so people don't see the connection as a step forward. They don't see the joining the community as a step forward. They don't see the conversation. They don't see the people engaging with their shit. They don't see the meeting they had, even if that meeting didn't work out, as a sign it is working and you're on the right fucking track. Just keep going, okay? So I want to explain to you guys high ticket sales as a process, not an event. I'm going to pick on my friend Richard, who is a local guy here, okay? So where I live in La Paz, Mexico, real estate has gone fucking bananas. Meaning like people are moving here. The word is out that this is a cool place to live. And people are building homes. So, like, the reason I say that, if you're a real estate agent, it's fucking easy money, right? People are buying and selling all over. It's a fucking buyer's market and a half. Like, you got a home to sell. It ain't hard to sell it. And yet, I was asking Richard how it's going. He's a nice guy, by the way. I'm not picking on him because he's a bad guy. He's just a shitty agent. But he said to me, oh, everyone's a tire kicker right now. Nobody's really serious. Nobody's buying. And I looked around and I'm like, people are buying in every direction I can look. I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind. And here's the biggest reason why he's failing. Because he has the expectation of events, not process. So event is, he expects somebody to show up with a fucking bag full of cash and go, this is for that home right there, Richard. Give it to me. Okay? Now, the actual event or the actual process people go through, just so you know, the average home sale from start to finish takes 6 fucking months. So if somebody is thinking, I want to sell my home and move somewhere else, first thing they do is they might like check out, I wonder what my home is worth. And they start Googling and checking out home prices in areas, and they look up some data. And then they might say, you know, I wonder what neighborhood, and they start Googling neighborhoods, and then they start going, maybe we should drive by there, and a week later, they just kind of canvass the neighborhood. Then they go, hey, I wonder what a mortgage rate would look like, and then they go talk to a mortgage broker. What are rates at these days? What are my options, right? And then they might, hey, go look at some open houses, and then they might talk to an agent about selling their house, and then they might sign some forms, and then it might, even if they sign a deal today, it might take 30 days before that fucking home moves. And then they go and they start looking at homes, and then they might actually even make an offer, and then they get rejected, and then they make another offer, and then it's agreed. Then they have to go like sign some forms, and it takes 30 days, and it goes to a title company. 6 fucking months. So if you go into it expecting that it's a binary event, Black, white, yes, no, instead of on a spectrum of where is it at in that process, you're going to be disappointed. And by the way, almost always processes take longer than most people think. Like, I see this all the time. January 1st, a bunch of motherfuckers say, this is the year I'm going to lose weight. And they set a goal, and 2 weeks later, they're disappointed because it just takes longer than they thought it would to lose fucking weight. And yet, all they had to do, if they had realistic expectations, is keep fucking going. Okay? So I say this to you guys because, man, our space is sold is so fast. It's so easy. By the way, Eugene Schwartz has a thing that he talks about the 5 stages of markets. I don't have time to go into them, but basically, like, the more a market's been pitched, the more jaded they are. Like, we're at stage 4 where people are super fucking jaded and they don't trust you and they don't believe you. And they also don't move quickly because they've been screwed before. Now, does that mean every single person who sells a home takes 6 months? No. Some take 6 days. Some take 6 years. And just so you know, if you go into this with the expectation that you're going to message people and they're going to ninja hurl a credit card at you, you're going to be fucking disappointed to find out it's real world, it's real relationships, and the average agency sale, some happen faster, some take longer. It obviously depends on your offer, whether it's an add-on first date. There's like some details in there, but it takes 45 days from start to finish, meaning the first time somebody hears about you, they will often not buy from you for a year and a half or a month and a half, okay? So if you go into it expecting that, like, they're just going to talk to you and ninja hurl credit cards at you, you're going to think you're failing, right? There are so many micro indicators that you're on the right track. And by the way, I didn't understand this my first time going through this process. I didn't even really understand it my second time, but I damn sure understand it now, is that there are so many like little micro indicators that indicate your thing is going to sell, the process is working out, you got a couple of objections, you got to follow up with people, but it's working, and just keep going. And people miss those micro indicators and only look at the money scoreboard and say, it's not working out, it's not working out, it's not working out, it's not working out, and then they give up. Just like somebody who exercises for 2 weeks, eats right, and goes, I only lost half a pound. What the fuck am I doing wrong? It's not even worth it. And they cancel their gym membership. And it's like, no, you lost half a pound. Just keep going. You probably replace muscle with some fat. So, like, you're probably actually leaner and in better shape. But just keep fucking going. So I say this to you guys because if you don't understand that this is a process and not an event, holy shit, you're going to miss the unseen progress that's happening. It'd be the gardening equivalent of you put a seed in the ground, you water it 6 fucking times, and now you have a shrub this high, and you go, well, I don't have any fucking tomatoes. Like, I was told that I would have tomatoes, and I don't have any tomatoes. And if you just keep fucking going, it will turn into a fucking tomato plant. So all you got to do is just keep fucking going. So I want to be the voice of reason in our space, because I'm not saying you can't make sales quickly. You can. But understand, most of your sales are processes, not an event. They are multi-touch. They happen over time. And you already fucking know this, because every real human relationship, right, works that way. Like, I think I met my wife. Right? We started texting, then we had some back and forth, then we had a bunch of conversations. Then she was far away. I was like, I should hang out with you in person. Then I went to hang out with her. Then we like hung out. Then we had a kiss. And then, like, you know, we eventually got it on. And then we had some dates. It didn't happen in 5 minutes. So I want to bring realistic expectations back to our space, because so many of you guys, like, the first 3 months break so many of you beginners because it's working and you don't know it. And you go, well, it's been 2 weeks. I haven't lost 5 pounds. I haven't lost 100 pounds. What am I doing wrong? Nothing. Just keep fucking going. Are people looking at your shit, seeing it, engaging it? Are you friending with them? Are you having conversations? Is shit moving forward? Is it progressing? Then yes, it's just fucking already working. So I'm a little passionate about this rant, as you can tell today, but I keep answering this question of, like, I did a little bit of period of time of action and I'm not crushing it yet. What's wrong? And the answer is nothing wrong. There is an exception to that. Like, if you run Google ads and people are looking for a solution at that exact moment in time, you can shortcut a lot of that journey because you catch them at the right time. But the flip side of that, that's the most expensive way on earth that I know of to fucking advertise, is catch people looking for a solution. Sometimes like $20 a click. Having said that, if you're going to interrupt people with content, with ads, with outreach, there's a period of time. Even those of you guys who do like face-to-face shit like BNI and referrals, you meet somebody, you shake their hand, you exchange cards. Let me call you next week. Hey, I'll run an analysis for you. What did you think of the analysis? Maybe we should jump on a call. Maybe we should talk. That process might take 2-3 weeks start to finish, right? From the time you shook hands at a BNI meeting. But if you only look at the money scoreboard, you're like, well, I met somebody and they didn't ninja hurl a credit card at me. So high ticket sales are a process, not an event. Stop looking for a fucking event. It's like the weight loss equivalent of like, well, I ate healthy one time. Why don't I have 6-pack abs? It's like you have to repeat it over time. All right? That's how it works in the fucking real world with real people. I know that's not how marketers sell it, okay? But I want to give you guys real shit, not fucking pie in the sky nonsense that fills most of the airways in our space. It's just like most of the internet bros that have never run an agency are all saying, just cold DM a motherfucker and here's 10K, move on with life. And even when that happens, it's still usually a process. I can do that, by the way. And that's after like 20 years. So like there was a 20-year process. Actually, it's more like 18 years. No, I'm just like quickly doing the math. 2025, 2006, 19 years. Okay. So it's like 18, 19 years. But like, man, that took a long fucking time to get to that point where that was the case and that's true. Okay. So anyways, I just say that to you guys, like, man, the biggest thing that's keeping so many of you guys stuck is you don't have realistic expectations about what is supposed to happen. And also, a lot of you guys look at the what's not working instead of what is. And so what is can be built upon. Like, I'll give you an example. One of our guys in our Fast Start program, he's trying to connect with people in his industry. He added, I don't know, like 300-400 people on LinkedIn. And only like 60 of those people confirmed his friend connection. And he was all like, 270 people are ignoring me. And he was like, yeah, but 60 of them aren't. Like, by the way, if you're trying to get your first client, for those of you guys who are just trying to get one, like 60 people is a big enough prospect pool to go get one, right? So all he has to do is keep going. All he had to do was keep going, but it's not working. They're not confirming my shit, right? Like, so I say that to you guys because, man, like, nothing crushes people more in our space than the fucking unrealistic expectations. Anyways, I'll get off my soapbox on that. By the way, Facebook's doing that thing like it always does. I don't see your fucking comments, but I love you guys who are over there on the other side, and I'll comment on your shit after this live is finished. All right. Next up, we got Jorge. He says, guys, I'm trying to choose the niche for easy to sell, easy to fulfill service. I really don't care about passion or enjoyment, especially at the very beginning. I can work on anything as long as it makes me money. You guys got any recommendations for niches where the service is really, really helpful and that one partnership can make you thousands? Want to decide on a niche so I can start reaching out to them this Monday. All right. Let me demystify those of you guys who either are picking a niche for the first time because you're starting out, or you have been a generalist and are now transitioning to a niche, or for whatever reason you have to restart and you're picking a niche again, okay? Let me tell you the biggest reason why people like me are so adamant about picking a niche. And if you understand this, you won't make it such a big decision. It's choosing an ice cream flavor, not choosing a wife. Okay? Some of you guys act like choosing a niche is choosing a wife. Okay? So let me tell you what it is not. It is not, I need to find some secret industry that's full of money, but is not too competitive, so I can get in on this secret stash of money. Okay? That's not what it is. What happens is, after you sell clients, you will have to fulfill on some shit. And when you have to fulfill on shit, if you are doing different things every time you have a client, your fulfillment life will be fucking miserable. Miserable. Ask me how I know, by the way. If what you are doing from one client to the next is copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, because you're essentially doing the same shit for everybody, your fulfillment life will be relatively easy because you really only have one solution you sell again and again. And by the way, usually the first time you create that solution, it's not copy and paste. But the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time, you reuse it. So it's really choosing a niche is really about the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth client so that you can copy and paste. And in essence, it makes it easy to scale because it's simple, okay? So that's the number one reason, adamant about picking a niche. So what niche fits that description? Every fucking niche, just so you know. So the second reason to pick a niche, okay, is because it is hard to create messaging that has any bite, any teeth, if you're trying to talk to everybody. I'll give you an example of this. I had a friend who said to me years ago, friend and mentor, he said, I want you in your mind, and he gave me like 20 seconds. He said, I want you to write an ad for an athlete. And I sat there for like 20 seconds, and I couldn't come up with shit. And then he said, I want you to create an ad for a left-handed golfer with a slice. And that ad almost wrote itself. I was like, dear left-handed golfer, do you ever notice when you slice the ball, it always like goes that way? Well, we're not like righties. There's reasons why you're slicing the ball, and if you fix these 3 things, I can guarantee you my doohickey will make you money, okay? So almost always what happens is when you try to talk to too many people at once, you don't know how to do it, and so you talk about your thing, which is the thing they never care about, okay? And what we want to do is create messaging that is about client problems and client outcomes. And the outcome a dentist wants is different than the outcome a lawyer wants, is different than the outcome an e-commerce store selling baby toys wants. And even though your shit works for everyone, we want to create meaningful messaging, right? So let's say we're running Facebook ads. If I'm trying to talk to everybody, I'm going to say, well, we do Facebook ads. And you know how many business owners woke up in a cold sweat today and said, I need some Facebook ads? None of them, just so you know. But if I say something like to a personal injury attorney, hey, are you finding your overheads really high and that TV cases are costing you more than $1,000 per signed case? Well, we can get you signed cases for $500 a piece, motor vehicle accident cases with no attorney on file. They have insurance, and they're still within the statute of limitations, and they weren't at fault for an accident. For $500 a piece using Facebook ads, they're like, okay? So the messaging can only have meaningful specifics if you got someone you're aiming it for. And by the way, writer downer, specificity prints money. If you want to not make money, by the way, just say vague, unspecific shit to anyone. That's how you not make money. Specificity prints cash. How do you do that without a niche? It's very hard. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's very hard. Right? The minute you narrow it down to somebody. Okay, reason number 2, or 3, I guess we're on, to pick a niche. At some point, you will have to strategically go get in front of the people you're trying to sell to. If you don't know who you're talking to, how do you get in front of them? So I get people who message me and they say, I do Google ads. How do I find people who want to spend money on Google ads? Fuck if I know. They don't walk around with signs saying, I want to spend money on Google ads today. I guess you could probably find them on Google ads, but that's really expensive again, right? But if you said to me, Frankie, I would like to go meet a golfer, then I'm going to say, well, let us take our ass to the golf course, to the country club where the golfers hang out. And I promise you we're going to run into golfers. If you said, I want to meet a nurse, I'm going to say, well, let's go to the hospital because the hospital is fucking full of nurses. If you said, I want to meet a stripper, I'm going to say, let's go to the strip club. Because that's where the strippers hang out. Or the coke dealer. Right? So picking a niche is just as much about being able to identify who they are and where they are so that you can go get them. So let me go back to the original thing I said, that the mistake everybody makes. This is why I say it's choosing an ice cream flavor, not choosing a wife. There are very, 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 very few truly bad niches. And usually the bad niches are just based on they A, don't advertise, and B, have like legal restrictions on what they're allowed to say or do or whatever. So for example, general practice doctors don't spend money, don't advertise. It's an insurance racket. I would stay away from them. But here's a thing that most people don't understand, okay? They think every niche is saturated and over competitive, and it's because they do it backwards, okay? So I want you to understand something in business, okay? And this is true in life too, not just business. When you solve one problem, you create another. And when you solve that problem, you create another one. There is never a point where business is free of problems or life is free of problems. So I see this when you're trying to grow an agency. First, you're just trying to get clients. Eventually, if you figure that out, you'll have fulfillment problems. You'll go, how do I make good on all these promises I made? If you figure out those two things, you'll eventually have to figure out how to hire people. If you figure that out, you'll have to figure out how to manage people. If you figure that out, you'll have like what I call corporate-y problems. We have this big machine and the quality of your whole brand slips. Okay? The reason I say that is because there is no niche that is too saturated. What is too saturated is when you try and sell the same thing in the same way to the same exact people, which is what most people are doing. And the way out of that, by the way, is after you have chosen a niche, you listen to the motherfuckers and you hear about the problems they have, because there's never a shortage of those. They will never run out, ever, ever. And so a lot of times we just assume, by the way, because what we want is more clients and more sales and more money, we assume that that is what they want. I'll give you an example why this is not true. Okay? In the restoration space, when I did the 90-day challenge, one of the things they said to me is, a lot of the jobs we get, we do not even get paid on. And it takes forever to get an insurance check, and they try and like beat us up on price. So if I show up and say, I'm going to get you more jobs, and they're not even getting paid on the ones they have, how do you think that promise sounds to somebody? Right? So I asked, magic question, which jobs do you get paid on? And they said these ones. And so we created a pay-per-click and SEO solution that was aimed at the jobs they get paid on. We'll help you get these ones, the ones you get paid on. All right? So that's why I say when you actually listen to the market, you'll create something that is needed. Needed. And then as far as what Jorge was talking about, for those of you guys who are interested, we did a live training last week on what I call easy to sell and easy to fulfill. And it's related to the fact that high ticket sales are a process. So if you think about it like dating, there's tons of people that have been dating for 4 years and have never asked her to marry her. And if you just step in and go, hey, will you marry me? They get wives. Or sometimes they're like too afraid to ask her out, and you just ask her out. And it's understanding they have sales in their process constantly that are not optimized. And what businesses believe is they have to get complete strangers off the street. And almost always they're not doing enough with the ones they already got. They don't need strangers. Like, for example, you can invite past clients back. You can offer more to existing clients that are buying right now. You can follow up with ones who almost bought it, right? And those are things that can be done that create easy, quick sales without having to chase strangers and run Facebook ads and do all the things that everybody else does. So I'm ranting on this because choosing a niche is choosing an ice cream flavor. And then as soon as you do, go listen to their problems and create something that helps them with their problems. But what you don't want to do is agonize over it for like 9 months. Because a lot of people think if I pick the wrong niche, I'm going to be broke. And here's the reality. Does not matter what niche you pick. There are broke people in that niche. And there are rich people. And there's a spectrum of people in between them. Every niche, by the way. And if you do this right, you're aiming for the richer ones in your industry, not the broke ones. Doesn't matter which niche you pick, you're not talking to the broke ones. If I talk to golfers, I'm not talking to the broke golfer. I'm talking to the private jet golfer. Right? If I'm talking to dentists, I'm talking to the dentist who's got 17 locations and, a staff of 250 he's got to keep full. So I say that to you guys because just pick your fucking niche. 24, 48 hours. That's how long you should take to pick it. Anything longer than that, and you're just wasting time. And this is what I made a post about this, but this is true in general. 99 times out of 100, the worst decision you can make is no decision. And that's the decision people default to. And almost always, any decision. So I see this come up in 100 ways, right? Where, should I pick this niche or that niche? Well, I need 9 months to decide. Should I sell Facebook ads or Google ads? I need months to decide. Should I hire this employee or that one? I need 7 years to decide. Should I use this software or that software? I need a month's worth of research to make a decision. And almost always the worst decision is no decision, right? Like, which project management tool should you use? Well, they all fucking work. So if you don't pick one, the worst decision is not having one, right? And you can change later. So I say this because we want to cultivate, if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, like being decisive and being okay with sometimes those decisions are going to be wrong, but more often than not, the worst decision is no decision. Like 99 times out of 100, 1 out of 100, you're going to be wrong. But that's my way of saying any niche is better than picking no niche. And yes, you're saying, I want to pick one where it's easy to make money. They're all easy to make money if you know what to do. But having said that, if based on what we talked about, the only thing I would say to avoid based on easy to sell, easy to fulfill, is I would personally steer clear of things that are emergency services, because the stuff I showed you guys on last week's training is not necessarily optimized for emergency services. It's optimized for everything else. That's, not an emergency. Also, just reiterating, Facebook's doing that thing. I don't see your comments. I know you guys are there, though. Somebody's listening to these old men yelling at cloud rants. All right. M. Taha, my man, says, white label SEO partnerships. Hey, everyone, I'm currently offering white label SEO services to a small agency, but the issue is they do ads mainly, and they don't have enough clients to refer them to me. Currently, I'm managing 2 of their clients with good results. One of them is already ranking in MapPack and AI overview by now. From the past 2 to 3 weeks, I'm constantly doing outreach manually, so very personalized on LinkedIn and via emails, but that stuff isn't working. Although I have some really good case studies on LinkedIn, but the response rate or open rate is very low. Basically, I'm from Pakistan, and it's hard to sell while being in a third world country, restrictions and trust issues. The issue for me isn't skill, but current client flow isn't going to help me build a sustainable business. So what's your best advice to get more agencies to partner up with so that I can get cash flow in? I'm young. I already have a team, SOPs in place, and I can build a team that is good fulfillment really fast. Sales is not my thing as of now. All right. So there's a lot to unpack here. I will tell you, and this is for those of you guys who follow me and you guys are in third world countries, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh. All right. So you hit on a word. It starts with T. It's called trust. And the barrier for you to get people into your world is trust. Okay. So there's one level of trust called you're completely full of shit. And that's where most marketers are at. Okay. That's how the market generally perceives us, just so you guys know. There is a level below that called marketer from Pakistan. Right? So you got like levels deep of I don't fucking trust you. All right? So let me tell you something that nobody else will tell you is you are going to have to do some shit up front for people to earn that trust. And by the way, as somebody who's worked with like 1,000 people from your part of the world, like between freelancers and odd jobs and Upwork and Fiverr and shit like that, like at least 1,000, actually a few thousand probably. I have had way more bad experiences than good ones, but I want to share with you guys some of the things that have made those experiences good when they were positive. Okay? First thing that makes it bad, I'll tell you, the number of people from India and Pakistan and Bangladesh who they're very fast in communication until money is transferred, and then all of a sudden they don't respond to messages. And oh, my mom was sick. The number of people from India that just happen to have a mom get sick right after I fucking hired them is astronomically high, like 90%. Okay? So one of the first things you can do about your thing is be the opposite. Be somebody who is communicative after working together. So the way you bridge trust, by the way, this is true whether you're from Pakistan, India, New Zealand, United Kingdom, United States, Italy, Japan, Singapore. It don't make any fucking difference, okay? And I use the 3 formulas for progressing a relationship forward. Coffee date, which is to give somebody something valuable for free, ideally something that's low effort for you, high leverage. 2 is what I call a first date, is like, let's do something small paid together so I can prove to you, as Eminem would say, because I am whatever I say I am. In other words, like, I can help you. Let me prove it to you on a small, low-risk kind of way. And marriage is where you're trying to finish. And so I suspect that probably your messages are missing the mark because you're going straight for partnership. You're going straight for marriage. You're going straight for, I don't know you, but let's work together till the end of time. And that's just a hard place to be. By the way, my favorite first date example, there was a guy in Jeff Miller's group. Somebody said, hey, can anybody out there help with creatives? And this guy said, I can make you a video for Facebook ads for $50, including thumbnail image. And a bunch of people are like, I want your video. Me. And by the way, if they like one video, what do you think they'll buy next? Right? More videos. So to me, that's really a $2,000 to $3,000 a month service sold in disguise as a simple try it out for $50 kind of first date. Okay? So I'll tell you, like, the first thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to message people as a coffee date. And I think the coffee date is not related to we'll do your fulfillment, but rather a much simpler is, hey, I have an idea for you to get a whole other revenue stream, right? So like if they don't run Google ads and you say I can do Google ads, or if they don't do SEO, hey, I can help you, like I can show you how to create an SEO revenue stream out of the agency you're running. Now, just so you know, their big fear in hiring you is a magic word called reputation, which is if they just send you all their clients and you do a shitty job, which is extremely possible from their point of view, if you're in Pakistan, they look bad and they burn all their bridges with their clients. So they have a lot to lose. So you can't go, give me all your clients, marry me. You have to go, give me one person for like 30 days and let me just show you I can do something cool, and I'll do it at cost, or I'll even do it for free if you need to, if you really want that agency partnership. But you're going to have to do something for them to prove yourself. So obviously I would suggest not just doing this for any agency. I would strategically pick ones that can send you a lot of business. And it's only after those things have happened that you've helped them with information, you've worked together in a small paid way, and you've proven I can actually do what I say I can fucking do, then I would start talking about marriage. I would say, hey, we would like to do this for a lot more of your clients, or all of them. Would you be open to discussing that? And it's just like dating, right? Like, you know what sells a second date or dating steady or getting married? Having good dates. Right? Everybody thinks it's like a magic line, but like if you had an awesome relationship with somebody for 3 years and then you say, will you marry me? You could fuck up the line. You could say it imperfectly because you've had 3 years of dating. They're going to say yes. You could Yoda it and say it backwards. Will marry me, will you? Right? Like you could totally Yoda it and they would still say yes. So what you have to do is prove yourself to people. In essence, they don't trust you. So as long as you know that, show in, help them with their thing, then offer to do it for one of their people, and then talk about marriage. So that means when you're messaging people, you ain't messaging about them, hey, I got this partnership, we can do all your fulfillment, blah, blah, blah. You're going, hey, I have an idea for you to add a whole other revenue stream to your agency. And then, hey, if you want, I can just do that for one of your people. And I'll do it in a small way where I'll put the risk on me because I know you don't trust me. I'm from Pakistan, but I know what I'm doing. Let me prove it to you. So that's just the nature of the situation you're in if you're in the third world, just so you know. All right. This one's from G Money. This was not a question, but sometimes I like to post things that I just want to rant on. So I'm going to just fucking rant on this. He has an image and it says, there's so much power in believing that everything will work out even when you don't know how or when. You just believe that it will. Okay? Henry Ford 101 said, Whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you are right. And I'll tell you, most people, if you could hear their thoughts, are anxious, overwhelmed, frustrated, and generally believe stuff is not working from that. How do I know that? I just look at the state of the world. I also, by the way, I do a lot of market research, so I read a lot of questions when people don't think I'm reading. When you're like talking in private communities, like if I'm trying to figure out what's going on in a dentist's head, I join the dentist community and I read all their shit. So I know exactly what's going on in a dentist's head because they're not trying to hide it. So this is my way of saying you have to cultivate faith. When I say faith, typically that is a word associated with like a religious thing. And if you want to have religious faith, go for it. I ain't telling you what to believe or not believe. But I'm telling you from a practical point of view in running your life and running your business, you have to learn to believe that shit is working out for you. And even when it seems difficult, is in the process. And I'll tell you, nothing helps from a practical point of view of seeing that. And shout out to our man, Dr. William Attaway, Catalytic Leadership, who told me about a year ago, he said one of the things that happens in business is you're always looking out, as an entrepreneur, you're always looking out the front view window. And so you never look behind at all the progress you make. You always look at the next obstacle to be overcome. And it's very easy to feel like you're never arrived. And he says, once a week, and I do it now more than once a week, but he said once a week, I want you to sit down for 10, 15 minutes, and I want you to write out wins. And whenever you're feeling like shit, go back and look at your wins, and I bet you'll realize you're winning way more than you think you are. So win for me today. We had a $6,500 sale this morning. That's a cool fucking win. Video me did that while I was sleeping. So I'm excited about that, right? But if I forget that, like, and we don't have any sales for like 3 days, you know, I get antsy, right? So I say that to you guys because there's so many wins. By the way, money's not the only win. In fact, I would actually encourage you to keep non-monetary wins. But having said that, nothing will remind you more that it's working out for you than keeping track of wins. What you focus on will expand, and if you're focusing on obstacles, problems, what's not working out, my next challenge, I can't seem to figure out that, that's all you're going to get more of. If you focus on wins, all of a sudden you'll notice like things are actually working out, things are actually happening, stuff is starting to move. So that's all I wanted to say on that. That's a short rant, but seriously, people, cultivate some faith in yourself and what you're doing. And that means, what that means is when you have real faith, you cross the line from dabbler to committed, right? I look at, like, say, advertising. A lot of people, the way they advertise is like a person who puts one toe in the pool and goes, "Ooh, the water's cold. Well, I don't want to do it." That's dabbling. Committed is, I'm going to fucking do 50 laps a day every day until I'm a fucking great swimmer. So I encourage you, if you have real faith, you will be committed at whatever you're doing. Committed. Capital C. Because you will not, for the most part, entertain the idea that it's not working out. That doesn't mean you won't have fear and doubt. Like, we all have it. You're human when you have it. But you'll spend a lot less time in those places and a lot more time in it's working out. And I'll tell you, my ratios used to be the other way around. The it's not working out was like 90-95% of my thoughts, and like 5 to 10% were like, I can do this. And just so you guys know, like 90-95% now is like, it's working out and I can do this. And only like 5-10% is doubt, scared, imposter syndrome, those kind of things. So you still have those human moments, but they'll be a lot smaller in intensity and a lot shorter in frequency. All right, last one. Demetra says, for all my PPC freaks, this is why you test. In 1 week, 80% increase in conversions, 43% decrease in CPL. The craziest part is we spent the same amount, received 70% less click. So what happened? Higher ad rank, a higher position in Google is expensive. Doesn't always mean you'll get better results than a lower rank, but you have to test and allow the system enough time to compare. Landing page domain change. If you see dipping results from a specific landing page or domain, swap it out and run an experiment in Google. You'll be surprised what a few tweaks can do for you. And sometimes a fresh domain with old good data is all you need. Marketing is a science, but it's not fortune telling. No one can predict the future with certainty, but you can create the future you want with the right tools and strategy. All right. So this was not a question again. This was one I just wanted to rant on for you guys. And I think it actually ties into our last subject, is because the way a lot of people approach paid advertisements is not with faith that it is working out and we are going to get the right ad and we're going to make this work. It is with I'm not sure if ads work or not. It's like a binary black-white. Work, don't work. Not a... Just so you guys know, advertising always fucking works. It's only a question of does it work to the degree you need it to. So Dan Kennedy says, really, marketing and advertising is two things. He says it's behavioral psychology and it's math. And he says you have to get good enough at the behavioral psychology so the math works. So the math is very simple. It's really basic math. If you spend $1 and you get back $2 from your ads, how much money should you spend on ads? And the answer is as much as you possibly can. But you have to understand the behavioral psychology to get to that point. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of background on how I approach testing, because I feel like a lot of the advice for split testing is frankly bad advice for most of you guys. And so the standard advice is test everything. And my advice is test the most important things. Okay? So Perry Marshall calls this forest, trees, leaves. So if you think about a forest is made up of all kinds of shit. So like leaves are the little small things. So in the beginning, I tested everything because everybody told me to test everything, but I ran a lot of little tests. Should I have a yellow button or a green button? Should I use easy or simple in the headline? Okay, that's little shit. I'm not saying it won't make a hill of beans a difference, but you're not going to all of a sudden have like shitty sales with a yellow button and then crush it with a green button, right? You're going to have a small incremental change. Yellow button, green button, for example. Next thing he says are trees. Trees are the middle-sized shit. And by the way, I see this all the time because I'm part of a lot of communities. Almost always, when someone's campaign is not working out, the standard advice is to play with the technical shit. So I'm not saying the technical shit doesn't matter. Oh, maybe you should try a conversion campaign. Did you duplicate it? Did you only increase your ad spend by 10% a day? And again, I'm not saying any of those things don't matter. Every change you do in advertising matters, okay? But for 99% of you guys, I would tell you the only things you need to test are the forest, the big shit. What are you actually offering? What sort of headline are you using? What sort of image are you using to grab some motherfucker's attention through the screen? And almost always, this is more about people and less about algorithms. So what I mean by that is people like have all this advice, the algorithm this and the algorithm that, and I'm like, I'm not saying the algorithm doesn't affect you, but most times when your ads aren't working, it's your fucking offer. It's not the algorithm that's holding you down. Your offer is not resonating with actual human beings on the other side of the screen. So when it's not, and by the way, this is a normal process. We're working on some stuff with a partner right now. We had some early success with something, and now like it's starting to fizzle out. And what I'm testing is the offer and the headline, the big shit. What I'm not testing is all the little shit, green button, red button, all that kind of shit. So I share that with you guys because there was a period of time where on our lawyer stuff, we ran a shit ton of Facebook ads, and I did what everybody says you got to do. What everybody says you got to do is a lot of fucking shit. So like, you got to split test this and you got to split test that. And what happened is I just had thousands of mediocre ads. That's all I had. And then one day I came across these guys' ads named Brad's Ads, and he talked about a book called Essentialism, Less But Better. And he said, I gave all that up and I just focus on writing one really killer fucking ad. And then I bet all the casino money on that one ad. And if it doesn't work, I pause it and I try another great ad later. But I only have to test one great ad at a time. And I decided to try that, and that was a much better philosophy for me, personally. I'm not saying it will be for you, but most likely it will be true for you as well. So instead of trying to split test 1,000 fucking things that don't matter, now I'm testing one great fucking ad. Sometimes, by the way, I've learned over the years that I can sometimes have 2 great ideas, maybe even 3, but almost always I never have more than 1 to 3 great ideas to test in an advertising campaign at once. And so we put all the money on coming up with our single best one great ad that we can run. So you guys can split test and do all that stuff any way you want. I'm here to just tell you that I think it'll work better for you guys. Test the big shit. And that by the way, that eliminates a lot of variables of what you have to worry about. Like less to think about, less to go on. Like there is a human being on the other side. Come up with the best hook, the best offer, the best message, the best image you can possibly create. And focus on just doing that once before you worry about split testing 1,000 things that don't matter. So split testing obviously matters. Like I don't want to say that it doesn't. But I feel like most people, to me, you split test the little shit when you've gone through the big stuff. So like if I was Amazon.com and they've run 8 trillion split tests over the years to determine how to rearrange their page and all that, now I'd be testing small shit. What if we make the button a little bit bigger? Right? What if we put the images over here? What if we put the reviews up there instead of down there? Right? What if we don't put the reviews at all? Like things like that. Those are the things I would be testing. But you got to do that towards the end of your testing journey, not at the beginning. At the beginning, it's just all like test the forest and only the forest. Big shit. Big needle moving shit. All right. That looks like all the questions we got, by the way. I'm sure you guys might have said something in the comments, but I can't see it until after the live is finished. If you guys asked anything in there, you guys will get added to next week. I just wanted to add a little, for those guys who missed the announcement, you can talk to our AI assistant about working together. And it's just people ask me because like I got like 24 different things and they said, which one should I buy? And I said, that's the one. Talk to that and it'll tell you based on what you're trying to do because they're all situational. Right? Like I have an outreach program, but I wouldn't suggest buying it unless you're actually trying to do outreach. I have a thing for running YouTube ads. I wouldn't suggest buying it unless you're trying to run YouTube ads, right? So forth. Like talk to that thing and give it some instruction about what you're trying to do. It'll recommend. And I just wanted to shout out for those of you guys who don't know this, we have a program for our beginner folks that I've released in the last like 2-3 months called our Fast Starters program. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, talk to the old assistant. It'll connect you. That's all I got for you guys today. Happy Monday. I feel like a ranting old man today, but some days are like that. Ranting old man today. What do I say? Anyways, I'm going to go head over to the bathroom and hang out for a little bit and maybe respond to some of your messages on the toilet because we live in an age where we all text and talk on the toilet. That's just how it is. So anyways, appreciate you guys. Happy Monday. May the force be with you. Much love. Peace out, y'all. Buy my book or I will put glitter in your socks. Every single pair.